Good morning everyone and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be taking a look at a modification I'm making to the 2021 modular, the police station. This is the new modular releasing in January of 2021, and let's just say I didn't particularly like the police theming. As you can see here, I have the original police building completely uncustomized. However, I was a fan of the exterior, so I started to think what else would fit in these kind of buildings, and I came across one idea which stuck out to me, and that was to change the main police station into a sort of high-end club. And I'm not thinking just like a English bar or something like that. My mind went to something along the lines of a reform club, except for much more modernized and to suit the adventurous theme from 1999 of Lego's own creation. Now, I thought I'd tackle this a floor at a time, and you're watching part one, which is going to tackle most of the ground floor, everything apart from newsagents, which will probably change in a later part. I estimate this will take 4 parts, one for the ground floor, second floor, third floor, and then the roof and figures in the 4th part. So let's take a quick look at the outside changes that I'm going to make to this modular. Here I have all of the ground floor of the building, and you may be able to notice a couple of changes poking out from the interior over there. But quickly I wanted to talk about the exterior. Now, as you can see, I have depolicified this front facade here. I kept most of the architectural detail the same. As I mentioned earlier, I am a big fan of the outside of this building. But some noticeable changes include removing the police tile, removing the blue accent along the top of there, making the doors solid brown and changing their handle colour to make them more old and ornate, and replacing the bars with a more secure yet still suitable window. Another exterior change that was made was to remove the donuts from the sign. This was replaced by a ginormous chocolate bar, as my plan for the side building was to change it from a donut store, which I felt was too similar to the bakery from Assembly Square, Cafe Corner, and all of the other restaurants and food-related shops we've had, into a high-end chocolatier, something that I don't think we'll ever see in the modular series. Some other noticeable things around the back is this inclusion of a stained glass window, the switch of this window from bars to another type, the moving around of the window arrangement on the back of this building, a new coloured awning, and the mirroring of the part of the donut shop wall. This was to aid my work on the interior, which we'll go take a look at now. Here we have the inside of the chocolate shop on the ground floor, and one last detail to point out is the inclusion of chocolate bars inside that 1x4 transparent pillar. Those would be the print, which I will show you on the screen now, to add to that decoration and a sense of a display window in a small space. As you can see here, I've made use of the existing shape to hide a cashier under here, but as we'll talk about in a minute, I had to bring this wall out to its initial full height at the front over here in order to make the stairs look somewhat symmetrical. I've used the brown ingot piece to suggest moulding chocolate details on the counter to give it that extra sense of chocolate feel and to bring it in. You can also see the printed banknote here, which isn't showing up as a print, as well as some display chocolate frogs on the side. Not to mention, I kept the initial donut store representations along the back, and you can see 3 colours of chocolate with milk, dark and white, as well as what would be a chocolate pie using the donut printing existing from the set, 2 more of the printed chocolate bars, and some ornate large chocolates. I kept the lights above, and in the corner you'll notice a modification of a coffee blender, which would actually be a display case holding the nut from Chip and Dale, representing a cacao bean that they have on display to show what they're all about. You may notice this over here, but I've also exploded a piece of the wall to show you what would have been on the wall that is missing. That's this wall along the left. I chose to add some more display racks with some boxed chocolates. So you can see down here you've got a selection. This one has a nice transparent window so that you can see the chocolate through it. This one must be some Valentine's Day chocolates, and you've got some more boxes and odd shapes stacked up on this shelf. The last major change I made to this room entirely is to change the floor colouring to chocolatey tones, and I think this suits the shop quite well as it was already tied into the initial awning. Moving round to the back side of what I am going to call the Rebuilders Club, we have a small little area for your coat rack, and that is where the entrance manager can take your coats, umbrellas and hats and hang them up. Using the technique from the bookshop, I was able to make an umbrella rack in a significantly small space attached underneath the back of the stairs. There's a rack for hats over here, and this would be an attachment point for capes if a certain patron came in wearing one. But moving round to the front, we have a couple more bits to show, and that revolves around the main interior of the Rebuilders Club, otherwise known as the club run by the adventurers where they work. In the corner here, we have a dinosaur statue referencing the branch of adventurers on Dino Island, and that's just a stone grey variant on a pillar. Over here you can see this large unprinted flag. This would actually be the flag from the Orient Expedition Scorpion Palace set, as I thought it was a nice trophy which they could have brought back, and there's a lot of references like that included in this set. Over here, just by the side of the grand staircase, which I'll talk about in a second, we have this globe, and that would be the printed globe from either Pirates of the Caribbean or the Harry Potter Hogwarts expansion from 2011. On the floor, there's a bit of a crest made out of the pentagonal trials and triangular trials, and those are all colours that are variable. I chose an interesting colour scheme for the floor, but I think it works out quite well. The centerpiece for this room is the staircase, which takes you up to the club level of the second floor, which we'll tackle next week. In converting this, I wanted to use a different colour scheme, and I thought that red carpet would be nice to have. I balanced this out with a brown wood tones to represent the actual staircase, and I added some bracket pieces in red in order for figures to stand on, which is something the police station seriously lacked. Over on the left hand side, you can see the entrance to the coat rack and exchange over here, where you would give the sort of butler or house manager your coat for under the stairs. There's a little stool down there where they can stand on in order to take them from you, and there's a proper access down the other side, just like in the police station. Up here on the side, some interesting busts may have caught your eye. Keeping with the decoration, I decided to make a couple more references with a bust of the original Clutch Powers here from his movie in the early 2000s, and this here represents the mummy case, which was an exclusive kind of container that came with an original Adventurers Pharaohs set, and I thought that was a nice inclusion here. However, down here we have the last desk, and this is the reception desk with an interesting door opening function where these rounded pieces would turn out in order to let the worker in. This is where you would go to show your membership card before you'd be allowed up the stairs, so sort of like a security checkpoint. But we have one more room to check out today, and that is going to be the ground floor where the prison was in the original build. And I've taken away some walls here so that you can get a better look inside the prison. First up, you'll notice the dark grey sarcophagus, also from the initial Adventurers line of sets, and these other two trophy cabinets absolutely full of references and spoils from the Adventurers' journeys. And we have some significant points to point out. We have the silver dagger down here that Achu would carry in the Adventurers Jungle sets, the grey dish that the Orient Expedition Dragon Fortress warriors would have worn on their heads, the Majorala's shield from the Scorpion Palace yet again, the full set of golden armour, again from Orient Expedition, with the golden helmet, shield and sword, as well as the golden key which was used to unlock the golden dragon in the Dragon Fortress once again. Up the top we have the Dragon Fortress Guard's helmet, also from the same set, and that is the one he wore before they upgraded with the golden to get access to the dragon. Could also be a reference to Fright Nights there, but I chose the grey colour in Pacific to reference Orient Expedition. And then on our final shelf here, you'll notice a couple of very familiar artifacts, as well as this thing up the top. Up here, I would intend the Sun Disk. Studio does not have this piece in here. I bring up a picture of the one I mean on the screen right now. Below that is the Rigu Ruby in its original case from the Pharaoh's Fortress set in Adventurers 1999, and the coins found inside the Sphinx of that very same wave. One important feature of the police station, which you may have guessed that I still included, is the spoon-dug tunnel that the crook is trying to escape with. And as you can see down here, I've actually widened the tunnel, because in this set, he's actually breaking in. If I lift up the floor, just like in that set, you'll see the exact same tunnel is still there. And in fact, he's getting very close to being able to steal the ruby back for, you guessed it, his employer, Baron von Baron. Except for he may be digging in the wrong place, because unless he wants some guy's hat, he's not going to get much out of his existing tunnel. One other thing to point out is I do have a full storyline planned for this modular modification, and I will be going over that in part 4, where I showcase the minifigures from this set. Anyway, I hope you find these changes interesting. All of these changes are indeed possible, and if you'd like a tutorial on exactly how I've done them and exactly what pieces I've used, please comment down below so that I consider doing one once I have finished the full series. Coming very soon will be part 2, which will be the first floor of the police station, currently the offices, mugshot room and apartment, and I will be merging all of that into one of the club floor of the Reform Club. The week after that will be the third floor, which is going to become the offices of Johnny Thunder himself, and both of these floors will contain many more references, so if you're an Adventurers fan, consider subscribing, and don't forget to miss out on the next parts. I'll see you then, bye bye.